Hello, hello guys! Happy Friday! Thanks for coming in tonight. Thank you replay viewers for watching. And thank you YouTube viewers for stopping in. YouTube viewers, if you'd like to watch live on Periscope, just download the Periscope app to your phone and search for Penguin and Fish. I'm here every night at 9:30 p.m. Central. So we're going to continue on block 54 of the Splendid Sampler is the shell. It's this cute little shell. We've color-coded it already. We started this last night, so I definitely suggest looking at my YouTube page, which is Penguin and Fish Movies, to see how we started. I'm going to try and go a little quicker through the process today. So I'm going to flip you around and we'll get going. Hey there, guys. Thanks for coming in tonight. Happy Friday. So like I said, we're doing block 54 of the Splendid Sampler. We got this little piece done. It's the A section of the paper piece. So if you're new to paper piecing, definitely go to Penguin and Fish Movies on YouTube. So just YouTube/Penguin and Fish Movies. And this will be the latest video on how to get started with paper piecing, and we go way in depth and walk you through the whole process. So it should be helpful. Tonight we are going to do the next couple sections. I want to do this guy here and hopefully get one more section after this done. That might be pushing it, but we'll see. But I'm probably not going to talk about the process of it as much tonight. I'm just going to try and go for speed and get this thing going because we just have tomorrow night yet before the new Splendid Sampler block is released. So if you want more info on this block or to get this block for free, it's at thesplendidsampler.com, and that's a year-long quilt-along that we're kind of working through now, and we're halfway through. And just cranking on the rest of it. We get new blocks every Thursday and Sunday. So new block coming up on Sunday. We got this block yesterday. If you're new here, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery patterns and kits. I'm the author of Sew and Stitch Embroidery, and I'm a fabric designer. That's actually what I did all day today, and I'll be doing that all day, all the rest of the weekend. I'll be trying to finish up my my next collection that's coming after the one that will be coming out till November fallish. So I'm like 2 collections ahead right now. So that's my plan for the rest of the weekend. I hope you guys have some fun stuff planned. I'm going to flip you around and we'll get started. Okay, all ready to go right here. Let's try and get in focus. There we go. So we did A, which is over here. It's kind of funny, like I was looking at this last night and I was looking at the B piece and I'm like, oh my gosh, did I do this wrong? But I forgot. This is actually the A piece, it's reversed. So just remember that everything we do here, this the printed side, it's actually reversed when it's done. Luckily this is a mirrored image, so it's not gonna make any difference to us. So all right, I'm going to, instead of moving on to B, which would be, you know, after A, so typically you could go in order, I'm gonna actually wait on that side. I'm gonna do this half first because I'm hoping that I can get through this half before Sunday so I can get a couple more sections done and then show you how to put the pieces together. It's all about lining up little points with pins, and it's kind of important for paper piecing, so I definitely want to get to that before the new block comes on Sunday. So tonight is all about getting at least one more section done, hopefully 2, and then Saturday tomorrow will be about how to get all these pieces sewn together and match up and everything. So that's the plan. I'm going to set this guy to the side, and I'm actually going to get all of these out of the side. We're going to work on C, the C grouping. All right, and let's just get going right away. So this is, this was my original color guide, but I've transferred those colors to here. All right, set that over there. Okay, like I said, I am just going to get going right away. So C1, that's where we're going to start with the 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. C1 is, it's white, so that's this fabric here. Okay. So we're just going to line that up just where we want to. Let's see, where's the best place to use? I think I'm going to play with this piece here. This is a good chunk. You lost 1/4 inch in width? Oh no! That's a bummer. Even lost 1/4 inch. So when, I think maybe it was just too scant when you sewed the pieces together. I'm not sure, or not scant enough. Maybe your seam allowance was just like a tiny hair too big. That's kind of the only thing I can think of. That's what's been my problem with all the Splendid Samplers blocks, is just my seam allowance is just a hair too big, and which shrinks everything up. Yeah, and especially when there's a lot of pieces, so there's like all 6 pieces or so. Each time you sew a little big, it gets scrunched up just a hair more each time. If it was just 2 pieces, you wouldn't have probably noticed, but with the 6, oh, so the height was okay. So that even makes that more my theory, that you just weren't scant enough with your seam allowance, because there's really not any sewing vertically for this. It's all like these sideways things. So with the so it makes sense that your height would be right, but everything else is just getting sucked in with every seam, and they're all like these, they're vertical seams, so you're making the horizontal less and less. So, all right, well, that makes sense. That's good to know. I'll try and remember that, because I mess up with that too a lot of times. So I'll make sure to keep that in mind when we sew the pieces together. So I'm going to actually, where's my glue stick? I'm going to actually, fussy cut this a little bit so I can kind of see the pattern through here. I have the right side down. I want to have the pattern going kind of vertically with like along the line. So I'm going to split the difference between these. So I want it going vertically to the center, so it's going to kind of angle up this way, my kind of vertically pattern. This one was kind of centered sideways, so these ones I'm going to all center upwards, and then the last one I'll center sideways like this again. All right, I'm going to at least try. So I'm going to just kind of lay this so that, you know what, I think I might be using less fabric if I flip it around this way. I'm going to lay this first block, it's the same difference, so that, that little line that I drew for where I want the center, I'm going to just lay that right kind of on the center of this line. I'm not, paying so close attention to it, but I'm also making sure that I have enough fabric going around to cover this C1 piece plus a generous seam allowance, which I do. We're getting pretty close here, but we're still got plenty. So I'm going to glue it right there. The first one is the one that we glue. So I'm just going to put a dab there. Yay, piece F4. Oh, piece F4 you got to glue? We won't be to the F's in a while. All right, so that piece is done. Oh, you know what? Let's remove some of this fabric. It's not quite done. Let's cut our blob. Just making sure that we keep our big seam allowance. So I go at least a 3/8 to 1/2 inch seam allowance, just to make sure. Just makes my life just that much easier having a big seam allowance. All right, out of here, fabric. This can go away to wherever this is coming from. That's too little for anything. Okay, time for C2. So we start with the postcard, covering up that C1 and folding it along that C2 line. And just folding along the entire edge here as best I can. Add 1/4. Oop. Get the fingers out of the way. It's an important step, getting those fingers out of the way. D4 So all the fours were a bit floppy. Okay, that's good to know. Oh yeah, you know what? So I was pinning those last night, but you know what? A little dab of glue might be even easier and faster and better than the pins. So I might do that too. That's a good idea. Okay, C2 pattern on there is the crisscrossy one. So that's this one. So now in theory, this we could sort of fussy cut to some extent too, I think. Out of here. Tiny piece. I'm going to just press this little edge here. That seems like a good place to start. And I don't really press all too much. Oh, when you sew the rows together, they get floppy. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so C2, I'm going to imagine that this is the side of my rectangle here. Let's just go like that. This is down. So let's think about this again, though. We have this crisscrossy pattern. Kind of wondering. I think I kind of want the crisscross to go with you know, kind of to fan out too. So I'm gonna do the same thing that I did here. I'm gonna align one of the straight lines. I'm gonna cut these in half, basically, or draw, you know, the center point, and draw a line down there. So I want some of my grid to align with this. So the grid will actually, you know, if I'm doing 90-degree angles from there, oh gosh, I can't draw there. It'll be kind of like that. But I'm really kind of paying attention to that middle line there. And that's not to say that I want a big blue line going down the middle of it for everyone. Like I might align, you know, the white center on some, but I do want like that grid to kind of fan as I go around, and that center line will help. So I just want, let's just, you know, throw it on. How about, okay, I need it as big as the piece here plus the seam allowance, and I can already see, look, this is not a good spot for it because, you know, I didn't leave a seam allowance here, so I got to scooch it over. And because I'm fussy cutting this, I'm actually going to use up a little more fabric than I thought. Actually, you know, we're not bad over here. Let's go right here. All right, so let's cut up here and then kind of down this edge. I'm going to use this. Let's just trim just like that. So that this is kind of, that's going to be my straight edge. So I'm going to actually trim this a little bit better once we're done here, but I wanted to just get it started. This one will just blob around the corner here. So I cut this at a pretty decent angle. I just need to, compared to the line here, I just need to get the hair more straight. This is the straight edge we want to match up. So there, so see, so it's kind of like, it's like this piece, so now we just need to flip it so the right sides are together. And we'll sew so these straight edges are together. I'm kind of tempted to test this one just because it can get swirly with these triangles. I want to see if I have it in the right place to sew. No, I don't sew the first piece on. The first piece is just glued to the back of the paper because there's nothing really to sew it to. Your second, so your number 2, which in this case is C2, is the first thing that you really actually sew. So I'm going to pretend sew it. I have a hunch I'm going to have to scooch it down a little, but that's what we're checking. So I pretend sewed with the pins, and I'm going to pretend press it open. So to have this be correct, this has to cover completely this. And it actually looks pretty good. I mean, we don't have a huge seam allowance down here, but we really only need a quarter when we're done. So, I mean, we have more up here. So in theory, I could scooch it down, but we're in the A-OK zone still, so I'm not going to worry about it at all. I'm just gonna get going for the sake of speed. If I wanted to be perfect, I would scooch it down a hair, but we're gonna have still plenty of seam allowance. But that's again the bonus of cutting a little bit bigger seam allowance. If I had cut it too small, I would have definitely had to move it down if I was too high. This way, I'm good either way. So I can just get sewing. It's a nice feeling to not have to move things around. All right, so I'm sewing right along that line, and again, I'm gonna start right at that tip there, and I'm gonna back tack it, so going in reverse once or twice, and then back forward to kind of secure it in place. I don't want that flopping out at all. And the same thing, I'm gonna stop right at where it meets this point here. My line's not going into the seam allowance at all, so that means I'm stopping right on the line of the next thing with back tacking. So, all right, let's do that. First of all, I'll get this in place and then I'll get rid of that pin. Out here, pin. All right, I gotta scooch this over. I can't see past the tripod here. All right, let's see if I can get that a little less bright. All right, there we go. Then we can see the line a little bit. So I still have my, that was the back tack. I still have my sewing machine stitch length set pretty small. So smaller than my normal stitch length. And that just is making a lot more perforations in the paper, which will make it easier to take off later. All right, to the next line. So I just back tacked again, and we are done with that. Oops, hit the tripod again. Okay, next up, trimming these little bits off the end. And the back. So I went out to the garden today. I have to show you this. It's just so big. But I went a little too long in the garden and found a giant zucchini. But like, look at how big this thing is. It's huge. I'm gonna have zucchini for days with this thing. That's my excitement for the day, so I had to share. I know that was completely random and kind of weird, but oh well. Ooh, a baker, yeah. I've been kind of baking a lot of zucchini. We actually got stuffed zucchini. That would be good. We have an acorn squash too that got really big, and I wanted to. We're gonna cut that in half and put some like yogurt and brown sugar and stuff in there. Not Whole30 compliant, but that's okay. John does a really good job at that. And, oh man, it's gonna be good. Ooh, zucchini bread. See, I don't know how to do anything bread related. Like I have like zero clue. I'm not sure I even have like flour or anything like that, so I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll definitely, and I have zucchini cut up in the fridge already too, so it's, I gotta make zucchini something this weekend for sure. I harvested a bunch of stuff. We have carrots and stuff too, so that would be good in like zucchini bread type thing. All right, C2 is done. Next is C3. Oh, Google it. Yep, there you go. Let's start with the postcard. I think we're gonna get through this guide pretty quickly. I think we'll definitely be able to get another one done. Very one bowl mix. Just like banana bread, that's not helping me. We actually made zucchini soup with zucchini as the base liquid last year when we had zucchini, and that was kind of interesting. We went to a restaurant where I'm like, I think this is zucchini. So you just cook down the zucchini quite a bit, and then it releases all that water, and that's like enough of a broth almost. So I might do that with the big one. Grate the big ones and freeze them. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm definitely thinking I'm going to have to freeze something, because they're just coming at me. All right, C3, it's this gray color. So we got that here. This one, luckily, is easy because we don't have any right side or wrong side, and no pattern to deal with, although I do not have too much left of it, so I do have to watch for that. So I'm going to be a little tight with my seam allowance, but we're going to just deal. So, is this the best place for it? I might come off of here a little bit. There's kind of this roasted. We usually do roasted. I am going to try and do it in this funny little area. I do a lot of roasted vegetables, so we'll definitely roast something with definitely roast some zucchini. I roasted beets and stuff today. All right, we're going to go there. So this is going to be my straight edge here. So this is the one that I'm kind of lining up with this angle here. I will go in and make this a little straighter. You know what, I'm going to rotary cut this thing. Just cutting my blob. There we go. Oops. I'm going to cut that blob a little close here, but oh well. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of squash roasting over the weekend, I think. Then I just put that stuff in the fridge and we eat it on salads and a bunch of stuff. All right, I'm gonna just give this a nice straight edge quick. All right. And this is a super blob. I mean, I have this weird arm coming off of it, which is fine. That'll go away soon. Puzzles. Okay, so this is my straight edge. Remember the right side is down. So this goes up here. Again, I think I'm going to do the pin test here. You know, in theory, this is where I could be using the glue, but I'm using the pins just so I can do that test to see if I've covered my entire area. I'm always a little nervous about that, so I like doing the pin test. There we go. That's close. Flip it up. Ooh, it looks like I'm just making that edge there. Ouch. Okay, I'm just barely making this edge. I think it's just because I cut it pretty close. But I think once I press it, I'll have a little bit more edge. I think we'll just be fine. It's a great long and lightly steam. Oh, see, so we'll probably do that too for sure. We actually got one of those spiralizer things. It doesn't actually work well with when the zucchinis get huge like that, but when we get the smaller zucchinis, then it's really good. But grating it, I do have a thing that can grate it a little bit, so that might be a good idea with the big one versus the spiralizer. But yeah, I got a bunch of prepping. They're fun. Like, we eat just a ton of zucchini spaghetti and stuff this time of year, and now we haven't a lot yet, but now they're really starting to come in. The zooks. All right, out of your pin. Just one more after this guy, and I think we're not even. It's still just 5 to 10, so we'll for sure get started on that. The next block in the shell. I'm thinking we can confidently say that we'll get half of this block, the first mirrored half of this block done before the new one's released. Oh, my mom just sent me this afternoon her block. She finished her shell block today, and she made it match her sandals block, that little freebie block, or the bonus block, one of those bonus blocks with the sandals. She made it to match that. She's like, I needed a shell to go with my sandals, so she used similar colors and stuff. It turned out pretty dang cute. Her sandals one is actually one of my favorites. That and her dress, the dress one. I have to finish that dress one. I think I have barely anything done on that guy yet. as soon as I finish this next fabric collection, I think I'll schedule some sort of, you know, marathon day again where we catch up on a bunch of these blocks. I think that might be a good idea. Get back on course again. All right, there's that. Oh, look, we can start to see it kind of coming together. This is gonna go right here. It's gonna be cute. All right, and see, now you can kind of see how we're the directional fabrics, like the vertical, horizontal looking fabrics are they're gonna start fanning out with the piece. All right, this is the last piece, C4. Oh, we haven't used this one yet. It's this blue color represents this guy here. I like this one. I don't have much of this guy either. Ooh, maybe we can fit it in this piece down here. That'd be good. Let's get rid of this first of all. All right. Ooh, you know what? I gotta do the postcard first. I always get excited with the next block and forget to do the postcard. Keep messing around with fabric too early. All right. Here's that one that I decided not to move down a little, so look how close our seam allowance is there, but it's still gonna work perfectly fine. Cut that and the little blob this away. Okay. C4 is this guy here. So I'm gonna align this maybe on one of these. You know what? Let's just see if we can fit it in here. I think we might. Yeah, I got a cut in there, so I think that's gonna be too small that way. Ooh, but I might be able to tweak it in here. Oh, you know what? This is also directional. I should probably keep that in mind too, huh? All right, so let's keep that in mind. So let's split. Where's my pencil? Turg. All right, totally lost my pencil. So here's a marker. I'm gonna split this in half. It looks like it's kind of split on that line, and then, you know, I didn't really need that. I can just kind of eyeball it. It's the point to that point. I'm gonna run my directional kind of fabric along that too. So we're fussy cutting again. So it's kind of connecting on one of these. So let's see if I can get it like right there. I think I have enough seam allowance here. This is plenty this way. This is the trick right here. Ah, see, that's a little too close. You know what? I might risk it because this is just all we're doing is the outside. So I really only need to go to this edge. I think I'm going to just risk it. Let's just see. I'm going to use my scissors this time just to be more exact. So let's give myself some space here. I'm going to just cut right. Let's just cut up to where it got snipped. Okay, so here's the trick. I need to get that straight edge in the right place. All right, so I'm going to go across there. You know what? I can actually use the add a quarter here a little bit too. I'm going to add a little bit more than a quarter though. Let's just kind of go right there. Just to get that straight edge where I need it. All right, let's see if that worked. Right sides together. This one I'm definitely going to pin just to see if it's in the right place because I don't have much leeway back and forth. So I'm going to need to pin to make sure I hit that triangle. Because see, it's hard to tell with triangles because look, doesn't it seem weird? This shape is going to cover this. So we're working with angles and a lot of weird things. So, and I'm using a smaller piece than usual. So this is definitely one to pin. Do my pin test, my sewing test. So pinning along the lines there. I love this pin sewing thing when we're working with weird triangles because, like, look, now because of all the angles and whatever, it ends up being, you know, going in the right direction. So let's fold this. I think we might be just right. Yeah, perfect. All right, great. We're in the exact right spot we need to be. Let's do it. But see how kind of weird that is? Just this was necessary to pin just to make sure that, you know, we checked our weird angles and stuff. But yeah, if we do our straight edge with the postcard, and then we make sure we get that good straight edge on our piece where we're lining it up with our place that we're going to sew, and that's our straight edge that we cut. As long as we can do that and line up the two straight edges, it should work out. So all right, we've done that. So let's sew this, and after this one, we'll just trim around the edge, and we'll have the C group done. I don't think I'm going to sew the big pieces together though until I think I might do one more. So we'll do that tomorrow. We'll sew all the pieces. So today will still be about just making these smaller groupings, and tomorrow we'll focus on getting them together. Oops, that was a little crooked at the end there. Hopefully that doesn't affect my, hopefully it doesn't affect how the fabric folds, but I think it'll be good. Okay, big scissors, you're in my way. I haven't mastered with paper piecing having all my tools in the right spot. Like I said, my scissors there it is. My pencil is under fabric, and my scissors keeps moving around, and my ruler. I haven't quite figured out where, when I'm done using the tool, where to place it so it's where I need it to be. Next time I use it for the next round. So I need to figure out a system for that yet. Oh, that's like way in the weeds. Not something that, you know, you'd think to pay attention to, but man, when you've searched for your add a quarter ruler long enough, then it's time to come up with a system of where to set things when you're done using it. Okay, let's finger press this guy. This is gonna be so fun. I think I'm gonna really like this this shell block when it's done. All right, looks like a pile of crazy still, but we're gonna trim it down right now. I have a command hook on my machine for, oh, see, that's a good idea. Just plop this like right here on the side. Fortunately, that's not the one that I lose all the time. This one I just kind of have on the machine. It's this mess over here. Fabric, scissors, add a quarter, other ruler, you know, it's the postcard. It's that area that I need the help on with all this paper piecing. All right, let's trim this guy. Now for this, I'm going to use this ruler here, just because I do have the rubber grippies on it, and I think it will just be less likely to slip. My add a quarter doesn't have those. So again, though, I'm going to line up this this edge with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm not going to pay attention to the outside. Okay, there we go. So I got the 1/4 inch lined up against that line. All right, first part. Yeah, you spend more time looking for stuff. I know, that's the deal. That's one thing when I get going on a project that if it starts to turn into a deal like it is here, where I like, oh, where is that again? I always lose that. That's when I start going into systems mode, and I'm like, okay, I need a solution for that. Where am I going to put it next time? And so I can set it in the same place every single time, and all that. So I'm going to have to start thinking like that. Fortunately, this area isn't all that big, so I'll have to come up with something. I think the problem is the fabric. Oh, that's not long enough. I need a different ruler. Let's get this guy out. Oh no, you've lost your add a quarter. Have you cleaned up your sewing area? Is it under just like a ton of fabric? Oh, because that would be super sad. Poor add a quarter. He's playing hide and seek. Alright. It's a mess in there. That's the thing with paper piecing too. It ends up, it's pretty messy. Just with all the little snippets and all that. So there we are. This is, what is this? This is the C group. So this will eventually go on it. So here's the trick. When we, let me check that out. Yeah, okay, so in the final piece, this has to line up, you know, this line, in theory, is a continuation of this. So we want like this nice edge going, and if you see how this is going over the edges here, it's not the easiest thing to figure out, well, where do I line this up with? So that's when we're gonna start pinning in places, and we'll do that tomorrow, but that's kind of the gig here. But here is our little start. So let's do the next piece. To find out the next piece, let's flip this around again. What do we got over here for pieces yet? So I'm gonna try and get through one more tonight. It's not this F piece, this E, there we go. The E piece, that's the last one. Okay. So, see, these are in reverse. So this one and this guy will match up. He'll keep going. He'll be like the, you know, this is the mirror, so it'll be kind of like this. So let's keep going. Your stuff grows feet. Oh, poor little lamb quarter. It needs a bell on it or something. All right, E1. This is the white, so that's this straight line fabric again here. Let's see, we were working from this side, I think. Let's get these rulers out of the way again. You know what, I'm gonna press that really quick. Alright. Then you won't lose it. Oops. Let's get this so the right side's facing down. That'll make it easier. So again, I'm gonna do that thing where I kind of divide these in half so I can fussy cut it a little bit. So divide this bottom line in half and divide this top line in half. I'm just gonna connect it. So this is kind of what I want my straight edge to be going on. Let's just center it again. So let's go right there maybe. So we have quite a bit of space. What if we went this way? Oops, there we go. Well, then we don't have enough. We'll just go there. Fussy cutting, you use up more fabric and you just have to deal with it, I suppose. Unless I go down here. If I go down here, then I won't be using as much. Alright, that's pretty close to not being a big enough seam allowance. But I think I might risk it for the sake of that I don't have too much of this fabric anymore. So we're gonna risk it. I'm gonna cut with the scissors. I'm gonna just go a little bit bigger on the outer edges and I think we'll be fine. I might just have a little smaller seam allowance there. Like it might be more like a little more than an eighth. So like a 3/16 seam allowance or something. All right. But let's glue that in place. Yeah, it's close. I'm gonna just pick it up to glue it again. All right, a little dab. Okay, let's get on that line again. Oops. Stop moving. That looks pretty good. Yeah, we have a kind of a tight seam allowance. I'm going to fudge it a little bit so we get a little bit more. I think that'll be decent. That's what we're going to live with. All right, E2. Well, first of all, let's do our postcard. That looks good. Yeah, see, we're a little tight up there, but again, I think we'll be fine. Okay. We a little cut in the fabric down here too. Ooh, that's actually a pretty big cut. Oh, but we're far enough away from our seam allowance there, so we're gonna be fine with that bigger cut. Ooh, I am living on the edge. Addicted to Ziploc bags. For your scraps, my scraps are exploding in the Ziploc bags right now. All right, B2. That's the checkerboardy one again. This guy here. So let's flip him over. See if we can get it out of this space. I think that might be too little again. Let's split this so we can have our guide for fussy cutting. What if we go up? Let's go up here. So I'm kind of going in line with this grid. I'm leaving a little seam allowance here. I think I may have to scooch up a hair. Yeah, we're way too close to the edge there. So let's move up. That's pretty good. Any marks up here, I think we'll be fine. All right, so the trick is, this is the straight edge that we want over here. So, you know what, I'm gonna just use this as a little guide. Let's just cut our straight edge right away. Let's put it right about there. And then I'll cut up to here and cut across, so let's just do that. All right. Oops, I thought I wasn't pressing too hard. I think it's time to switch the blade again soon. Let's do that with scissors. Okay, so here's our straight edge that we want. Some right sides together. You know what? I'm going to test this again with the two pins, and this is a pretty big piece, so it's going to be a little floppy. So it'll be helpful to pin anyway, just because these are bigger pieces. We're getting to long and skinny, floppy pieces. Ah, stabbed myself. Okay, let's test it. All right. Ooh, look, we're not covering up here though. So I did something wrong there. So that's a problem. So clearly, this is a good point though. So see, it's good that I pinned it. I thought my piece was big enough, but then when I flipped it around, clearly I missed a whole section here. So I need to, but I know my piece should be big enough. So I just need to scooch it up a bit because I do have plenty. I have plenty at the bottom here. So let's scooch it up. Glad I tested. So let's scooch it this way a little. I just moved it to the right. So let's test again. These angles can get funny. Definitely easier on the brain to just test it out. All right, now I think I've just barely covered it. I could probably go up a little bit more, but I think we're gonna be good. I might just leave it. I'm gonna just leave it. We're just barely good enough. I could move it up a hair. Was our bottom good enough? I should test that. Our bottom seam allowance is pretty tight too. I cut a pretty small piece, but I think we're good. Yeah, I don't have to be right at the corner. So we'll be fine. And ultimately we'll be sewing this to other things and trimming it down and all that. But you know, it's good. But if I would have done it the first way without checking, I would have had a whole corner that wouldn't have worked. And I didn't see that beforehand. So always good to test. Yeah, and then when you test, then the pins are already in here, so that's kind of nice on these big floppy pieces. Oh geez, for a second I thought I was out of bobbin thread, but we're good. Okay. I think I have a ton of bobbin thread in here right now, actually. I'm still using that gray. I haven't switched back to my tan color, which is what I've been stitching the rest of the Splendid Sampler with. We switched to that gray for just, I don't know, to sew the squirrel or something like that, and I just kind of left it. I just haven't switched. I didn't feel like switching my bobbin out, so I just left the gray. The gray's kind of a nice neutral, though, too. And especially with the blue, I think it's ideal for the blue, really. All right, let's press this. So I might be taking another painting class, so I'm kind of excited about that. I wasn't gonna, but then ended up doing it. So soon, I think in September, I think is when it starts. So I might have, I haven't confirmed it all, but so Tuesdays now instead of Mondays, I might be gone for the evening again. But I wasn't gonna actually take a class. I was thinking about it. I was on the fence, but I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just paint it home for a while and get a sense of it a little bit better, and then maybe take another class. But the school contacted me because I posted my progress and stuff on social media, and they said that they always kind of interview a student about the class and how it went, and do like a little profile on the teacher and the student, and they wanted to do it a little differently this year. This year they wanted to kind of feature a couple students and then show their growth over a few classes. So they asked if I wanted to do it, and I bet you anything it was because I've been kind of posting my progress already on social media and tagging them in it. So they offered me to take a class for free and then do this thing. So I'll have to post some social media about it on theirs or something like that. I don't know. I have to meet with them. But I'm like, sure. So I got a class out of it, and I'm like, so that was like awesome. So that was like the world or the universe telling me that maybe I should be taking more painting classes there, I think. So that kind of made my decision for me. So I'm so excited. It's actually a class on portraiture. So that's kind of freaking me out. I don't know. There were a lot of really great people in my class that had like way huge growth throughout the class. So pretty sure it's not that. But yeah, well, that's why I was on the fence, because it is kind of a pricey class. It's a continuing ed class at the college here, and they're not cheap. So I was on the fence for that reason. But I'll be doing it again, and it's portraits, so it's oil painting. I think this is just too small here. I might risk it. Portraits kind of freak me out. It's oil painting. It's an oil painting class, so that was way new to me in the last class that I took. So the last class that I took, that was my first. It was a beginning painting class, but it was with oils. Let's get this a straight edge. So this is going to also be with oils. It's the same teacher, actually, and except for it's portraits. And we're going to have live models and stuff, too, to do the portraits on. So I'm like freaked out. Oh, I would totally love to paint a kitty. I'm pretty sure that will be happening no matter what at some point here. Yeah, free is always a good price, exactly. I'll have to pay like the materials fee and stuff, but still, like, that's a steal for sure. So I'm so excited. So I'm getting the details together with them yet. I think I just have to. I think all they really want me to do is do like a little interview about the classes that I'm taking, that I took, and you know, I don't know, probably talk about the progress a little bit and that sort of thing. And then I think they just want me to, you know, keep posting stuff, which I would have done anyway. Yeah, so portraits, that freaks me out a little bit. So exactly, so that's the reason to do it. Exactly, that's exactly it. I'm going to scooch this over a little bit because I don't have much leeway here, and I do have room to maneuver a little bit, so we're going to adjust. But yeah, so portraits, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I actually don't have that much space because I have this little tick out of here. So I think this is kind of splitting the difference here. Let's pin it again. I'm really testing my pieces here. I'm wasting a lot of time doing all this testing, but there we go. That's much better. But I'm barely cutting my pieces. Like usually I would like to cut my pieces a whole lot bigger than this. But since this is like the last bits of these fabrics, and I know I'm going to want to use these fabrics a lot again, so I'm just trying to be conservative, but you know, you don't want to be conservative to the point of that it uses it up, or like that you make a mistake and make it too small, because then you've lost all that fabric. You know, it'd be better to lose a little fabric with the big blobs than lose it all by cutting it too small. I'm right on the cusp though. I'm about as far as I can go without screwing up the whole thing, I think. But yay, so more painting, and I bought some stuff to paint at home here too. I would kind of like to do one of these painting every day things, which that freaks me out right now because I'm thinking like, well, when the heck would I do something like that? But I'm wondering if I can work it into my mornings, or like get up a little earlier and paint for, you know, an hour or so, like a tiny painting, and just paint every day and then show like the series. I'm actually thinking it'd be fun to do like a time-lapse video of every single painting. So that's kind of what's running through my brain. So I'm like so itching to do that, but I'm just trying to make it through this fabric collection that I'm working on, but I think I'll be done with that over the weekend. So I don't know, maybe Monday I'll start painting every day. That'd be kind of, I don't know, that freaks me out, but I'm like excited about it at the same time. I don't know if I'll, you know, I keep negating myself. Like I'm feeling myself negate everything I'm saying. Like I'm saying I'm excited about it, and then I say something negative right away. Have you noticed that? So that's like my two sides of my brain kind of like going, my I want to do stuff brain and my talking it out of myself brain. So it's kind of funny that I'm doing that right now, but I'm putting it out there that that's something I want to do. So if I'm not doing that soon, then you guys can yell at me. All right. Anyway, this is the dark fabric again. We haven't used that in a little while. Let's do our postcard. But yeah, I want to paint like everything. Like I'm thinking, you know, like if I did a painting every day, which would be a huge challenge, but let's say they're just like really little, and like what if I did, okay, for the next 100 days of the time that I'm painting every day, I do some sewing related thing, you know what I mean? Yes, no, I will definitely be doing the Splendid Sampler for sure. I won't be quitting this. I won't be quitting my nighttime periscopes. I'm committed to these periscopes now, so no matter what, these will be sticking here. Anything that I do will be on top of this. Oh, good night, Jean. Thanks for coming in. Early morning. I think I'll be up early tomorrow too. Let's see. This is that giant piece of fabric that is unruly. Where is the part that I'm cutting from? Ugh, let's flop it all out. Here we go. Let's just start at the salvage area here. We got some cuts out of it already. You know what? Let's just get rid of this selvage and start fresh over here. All right. And you know what? There's this little piece here that's going to just be in our way. I'm thinking it's going to trick me into thinking that I have a solid piece up there. Okay. Let's look at, okay, we're E4 here. I might, let's just, I don't know. Let's go right here. How about that? So I need it as big as this piece. I think this will be fine. I'm gonna, scissors, where'd you go? So this is that straight edge though that I need. So I'm just gonna fold this up and kind of go at that same angle. I will trim this a little bit more. Wow. I maybe should have moved a little up a hair. And then I'm gonna blob the rest of this guy out. Hopefully this is enough. We'll definitely test it. All right. Too much fabric. Okay. So let's just get a good straight edge here. Ooh, paint all the blocks. That would be cool. I might paint, I would consider painting some of the blocks like laid out in a still life with, you know, like the sewing machine and maybe some of the blocks in the background or something. I probably wouldn't do only a block unless it's mine. Like, look at this funny angle that we're dealing with here. I mean, isn't this is kind of crazy, right? But we're just lining up the straight edges. I am definitely going to pin this, though, to make sure it's in the right spot. But yeah, I would just be a little nervous, you know, for copyright reasons to just straight up paint someone's block. Just only the block. Like it's, like, you know, just the design. But it all laid out in a still life, I think would be kind of cool. So, there it goes, in the right spot. See these angles, they can get crazy. But if you follow like this way of doing it, you should be able to do this just fine. Okay, plenty of space. Let's sew that. Then we'll just trim the outside and we're done with this one too. So all we'll have to do tomorrow is sew these pieces together. That'll take a little bit of time, but we might have time to start, we probably won't. I was gonna say we might have time to start another one of these segments, but we probably wouldn't have time to finish it, so that makes me a little wary of starting it, but we'll see how time goes tomorrow. I will have it on deck for sure. Get rid of my pins. But yeah, I'm itching to get painting, but I have so many other things I want to do too. But that's something I would like to make more of a habit thing. Like, I've started reading in the mornings, and that's been like the best habit that I've formed over the past year or so, is just getting up, having my cup of coffee, and reading. Like, I'm getting up earlier than I normally would, and what's getting me up is that, like, oh, I can just read my book by myself and have coffee, and it's okay to do that for myself because I would be sleeping normally anyway, so it's that extra thing to get me up in the morning, and that's been, like, my number one best thing I've done in the past year has just been getting up early to do that reading, because I wake up and I feel like I've done something for myself right away, and that just makes the rest of the day better. And, you know, I'm reading just tons of books too, which I really love, so I'd like to kind of integrate maybe the painting into that somehow too, although I'm not quite sure how that's gonna pan out yet. Or maybe I just end my evening a little earlier. Like, maybe I start a painting at 8 and I have to be done by 9 p.m. or something, just in time to set up for this scope, you know? That would be a good time limit. Like I have exactly an hour to finish this painting, you know, and have it on a timer. So I just paint from like 8 to 9 and then set up for this and then do this from, you know, 9:30 to 10:30 or whatever. Maybe that's the solution. I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling now, huh? Figuring out my life, figuring out how to make more time out of nothing to do what I want to do. All right, we're done with this guy. Let's see what it looks like. Look at this fun big point on the end here. Ugh, I think this is just gonna be so fun. So here, all these lines are gonna line up when we're done. And then this piece, I am really liking these blues. Oops, it goes up here. But see here, now you can kind of see we've been keeping with this, trying to keep these lines going the same direction, so it's kind of having this little like fanning out effect, and I think it's going to be, you're going to see it once it's all together in a piece too. I mean, in theory, this one we should have maybe had it go the other way, but you know, it's a little special piece. That one can go in a different direction. But there we are! Got one half of it done, really, as far as the pieces. Tomorrow night we will work on putting all these pieces together. It can be a little tricky. There's stuff that you want to pay attention to. There will be pinning involved, but I'm liking it. I'm actually liking these colors. I wasn't sure. I haven't done an all blue anything in a while, and you know what? This is what I want my quilt to look like, just these blues. But then I went and had to add all that red and yellow in, which I actually am really liking too. But this was my original thinking of what I wanted my quilt to look and feel like. I just didn't have enough blues, really, I think, when I started. But okay, I'm going to flip you guys around and we'll call it a night. I really want to paint a paint-itis. Yeah, exactly. The painting disease. We'll see once I start going at home here. Maybe we'll see how it goes. But here is these guys so far, and this one goes. There we go. There we are. It's looking cute, I think. So we'll continue this tomorrow. Like I said, we'll sew these 3 pieces together so we have one half of this mirrored paper piecing done, and then the other half is just the same, and then you sew it together, and that's block 54. So all right, guys, I will see you tomorrow evening, Saturday, and have a great start to your weekend. I appreciate you being here again, and this will go up at Penguin and Fish Movies shortly. They'll be up in probably 2 hours or so. All right, guys. Good night. Nice seeing you.